Hey guys, it's Will, and I hope you're having a great day. A lot of you have been asking me, Will, where have you been? And I got to tell you, I've been having a great time. Last week, at the beginning of the week, I had a chance to go to Vienna, Missouri, meet with a couple hundred Democrats there. We talked about the issues that are important to us: healthcare, schools, a better economy in rural America. Had a chance there to sit down and talk with a reporter from France, believe it or not, who writes for a farming magazine in France. So some of the issues that are important to us in rural America are going to be put on the pages of a French newspaper, and we're going to be sharing those ideas and some of the fights that we're up against and what we're doing to push back with our farmer friends in France. Then I got to go down to Texas. I got to go down to Bastrop, Texas, to a rural summit there. I got to tell you guys, it was a great trip. Just some incredibly good people down there. I got to meet one of my heroes, Jim Hightower. Watched him stand up on the stage in that big white cowboy hat and pressed white shirt with that Shinerbach in one hand and his notes in the other, and just gave him hell like he always has, even at the age of 82. You know, first of all, I hope I'm around at 82. And second of all, I hope I'm still giving him hell at 82. But it's been an incredible journey, guys. And let me get to the point of why I came on here. You know, this is probably just a therapeutic moment for me, but something really disappointing happened this weekend. And I was going through some of the data from social media, and I looked and I saw that right at the top of the list in social media engagement over the past weekend was a debate over which party was responsible for these horrible unalivings in the state of Minnesota. And it was just like a gut punch. Honestly, guys, I'm going to be right up front with you. It's like a gut punch about the state of America right now, especially rural America, because I saw these same arguments playing out on the pages of Facebook, especially on the pages of people that I know and love from where I grew up in Bolivar, Missouri. Was it the Democrats' fault? Was it the Republicans' fault that this happened? And I just think about all the challenges that we face in rural America right now. And I started thinking maybe I'm talking in too sanitary a manner about the challenges that we face. In other words, it's easy just to spout the statistic that 700 rural hospitals are about to close across the country, over 60 in the state of Missouri. And maybe that just doesn't tell the full story. When I think about that and the message that I'm really trying to relay to other people that live with me in rural America is just how devastating that would be for all of us. Somewhere, someday, sooner rather than later, there's going to be another farm kid with a mangled arm like me laying on the ground out in front of that barn or beside that tractor, and they're not going to live because they couldn't get the medical care they needed as quickly as they needed it, because our hospitals have been closed down or Life Flight isn't available. You insert the reason due to lack of funding here. Or the woman who you love more than anybody else you've ever loved in your life is going to be having a baby and will suffer complications. And maybe one or both of them will suffer because of the fact that there's no good health care where you live because of these cuts that are occurring in rural American healthcare. Or maybe that grandfather or grandmother that raised you, like mine stepped in to help raise me, maybe they'll have a medical emergency, a heart attack, a stroke, or something along these lines, and they won't make it because they don't have the rural health care available to get them stabilized, either to offer them treatment or to get them to a larger treatment center where they need to be. And these are the real life ramifications of what's happening right now. And we talk about our schools. I can't think of any other institution except for the church in rural America that plays such an important role in the identity of a small town or a county in rural America. The guys that I grew up with are like brothers to me, even the ones that disagree with me politically, even the ones that I've had it out with during presidential elections. Any one of them I could call anytime I needed to, and these brothers would give me the shirt off their back to help me out. And we still tell stories about our glory days in football. And my buddies and friends that were in speech and debate with me in high school, where we had a lot of success at our little rural school. We still tell those stories today with a smile on our face. And just the thought that all of the cuts that are occurring right now and the privatization and the vouchers could take away generation after generation after generation of opportunity for other kids growing up in rural America, it just makes me sick at my stomach. And I think that if we set aside the politics and we set aside the petty bickering and we set aside the lines that we like to draw to separate ourselves, I think we would all see that. And we would all want to work toward a common goal of better health care and better schools, and then better ag policy and better economics. You know, regardless of what politician is pushing for better infrastructure in rural America, for better roads, for better Wi-Fi, for better internet, so that guys like me that start companies can come home and do that in their little small town with the infrastructure backbone that we need. You know, these are important issues that need to be addressed. And I don't know, when I saw that it wasn't healthcare that was at the top of the list for items that people were debating in rural America this weekend, it wasn't the demise of our public school system in rural America, it wasn't even ag policy. You know, all these poor farmers out there that spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to do the right thing in regard to making their farms better, making their ranchers better, that are never going to get reimbursed for that. Many of them are dealing with $40,000, $100,000, $400,000 holes in their farming budget. It wasn't any of those issues that were at the top of the debate structure this past weekend. It was, who can we blame the unalivings of these poor people in Minnesota on? Who's to blame? Whose fault is it? How can we argue about that? Rather than just agreeing as Americans that our political discourse in this country has become so tainted and so poisoned that this could even happen in the first place. Because let's be honest, regardless of where you want to place the blame, it's the tainted, poisoned political well in this country that's causing things like this to happen. You can say somebody is mentally unwell, you can say they're mentally unbalanced, but for them to choose politics as their avenue of striking back, we all have a small part in the blame that's to be passed around for these kinds of things happening. And I just feel, you know, call me naive. Call me naive. That's okay. Naivety is a hill I would die on when it comes to being everything that it means to be as a supportive American, of loving your country, of wanting the best for everybody, regardless of their political ideology, race, sex, sexual preference, creed, whatever it might be. That's a hill I'm willing to unalive on. I don't know. It hit me in the gut. And I just want to say to all of us, including me, we can do better. We can do better. We have to do better. Our kids are depending on it. The people we love are depending on it. The very democracy that we grew up under is depending on it. And I'm going to do my part to make it happen, and I know you will too. There's so many people across this country that don't want to make politics just the art of bickering or owning the other party or the other ideology. But where can we meet part way to come together to do the right thing for our country? And again, as my good friend John, and he knows who he is, used to say, I'm not talking about meeting Nazis halfway. I'm not talking about meeting the 3%ers halfway. I'm talking about real Americans who love their country and want to see this country succeed. How do we meet each other halfway to do the right thing by our families, ourselves, and our nation? I hope that's what we're doing here at the Back 40. I hope that's what we're doing here at the Back 40. And if you want to join us, do it today. Go to theback40official.com and sign up. And come on this journey with us, because together, I really still believe today, as much as I did 6 months ago, 6 years ago, and 25 years ago, that together we can definitely make this happen. Have a great day, everybody.